Trump's plan to end Ukraine war would cede territory to Russia. US President Donald Trump's plan for ending the war in Ukraine would cede land to Russia and limit the size of Kiev's military, according to a draft obtained Thursday by the Associated Press. The proposal, originating from negotiations between Washington and Moscow, appeared decidedly favorable to Russia, which started the war nearly 4 years ago by invading its neighbor. If past is prologue, it would seem untenable for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who has opposed Trump's previous calls for territorial concessions. There has also been resistance from European leaders, who are likely to decry the US peace push as rewarding Russian President Vladimir Putin for his aggression, leaving him emboldened rather than defeated. For example, the proposal would not only bar Ukraine from joining NATO but would also prevent the alliance's future expansion. Such a step would be a significant victory for Moscow, which views NATO as a threat. Putin would also gain ground he has been unable to win on the battlefield. Under the draft, Moscow would hold all the eastern Donbass region, even though approximately 14% still remains in Ukrainian hands. Ukraine's military, currently at roughly 880,000 troops, would be reduced to 600,000. Heavy Russian attack on Ukraine kills at least 26 people, injures nearly 100, officials say. Ukraine receives more Patriot defense systems, but Tomahawks from US not coming soon. The proposal opens the door to lifting sanctions on Russia and returning it to what was formerly known as the Group of Eight, G8, which includes many of the world's biggest economies. Russia was suspended from the annual gathering in 2014 following its annexation of Crimea, a strategically important peninsula on the northern coast of the Black Sea that is internationally recognized as part of Ukraine. The US team began drawing up the plan soon after US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff held talks with Rustem Umerov, a top advisor to Zelensky, according to a senior administration official who was not authorized to comment publicly and spoke on the condition of anonymity. U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll was also in Kiev on Thursday and discussed the latest draft with Zelensky, according to a senior administration official. Zelensky offered a measured statement on social media about it but did not directly speak to the substance of the proposal. Our teams, of Ukraine and the United States, will work on the provisions of the plan to end the war. We are ready for constructive, honest and swift work, he wrote. Under the proposal, Russia would commit to making no future attacks, something the White House views as a concession. In addition, $100 billion US in frozen Russian assets would be dedicated to rebuilding Ukraine. However, handing over territory to Russia would be deeply unpopular in Ukraine. It also would be illegal under Ukraine's constitution. Zelensky has repeatedly ruled out such a possibility. Russia would also be allowed to keep half of the power generated by Europe's largest nuclear power plant, Zaporizhzhia, which it captured from Ukraine early during the war. The draft calls for a peace council that Trump will oversee. The council is an idea that Trump snatched from his lengthy peace plan aimed at bringing about a permanent end to war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. If either Ukraine or Russia violated the truce once enacted, it would face sanctions. U.S. Representative Don Bacon, of Nebraska, an Air Force veteran and Republican, rejected the emerging plan. Unacceptable, he posted on social media. It is a 1938 Munich, referring to a diplomatic agreement aimed at securing peace with Nazi Germany but widely viewed as paving the way for World War II.